And a pleasant good day to you. And for the final time this season, welcome in to Ottawa, Ontario, where the Evansville Otters are concluding their three-game set with the Ottawa Titans. Good morning, folks. I'm Matthew Will, joining you for another edition of Otter Ball here on the Otters Digital Network. Pleased you're joining us here bright and early. Well, not quite too bright. A lot of rain and thunder in the area this morning in the Ottawa area, but that has all moved out. They were able to get the tarp off there at about 10:15, and ever since we've been dry. So we're going to be able to play a baseball game here today. It is a little chillier as the temperature is sitting there in the mid 50s right now, and the wind is blowing about 10-15 mile an hour from home out towards left center. Might be an afternoon we see a couple balls leave the yard, but balls leaving the infield has been a tough ask for both squads through the first two games of this series. Ottawa won game one 2-0 in a game that featured just a few hits on either side, 8 combined hits in game one. The first one was the first meaningful one was an RBI double in the bottom half of the first inning that gave the Titans their 1-0 lead. Then a solo home run in the third inning by A.J. Wright was all she wrote in a 2-0 game there on Tuesday evening. Last night, the two teams did it once again, and once again it was a very big struggle for every man at the plate. A couple things played into that, of course. One, both pitchers looked very good in Brett Adcock and Tyler Janren. The second being that the umpiring behind the plate got a little struggling at times. A couple of the pitchers I talked to down there in the Otters bullpen this morning during warm-ups were just mentioning that it's really hard to pitch to a guy when the pitches that are there in the corners aren't getting called strikes, and then at other times things an inch and a half, 2 inches outside of the zone are getting called strikes. So it's hard for me as a pitcher to figure out where I need to locate in order to challenge the guy at the plate and not hand out walks left and right. There were a few walks handed out yesterday and a total of 8 hits once again in yesterday's game, tied at 4 apiece, and the winning run had to wait all the way into the bottom of the 8th to score on the RBI double from Jacob Sanford, his second RBI double of the series, and the 1-0 lead was all the Ottawa needed to win the game. And for the second night in a row, the Otters are shut out here in Ottawa. They'll look to turn that around with a Kids Day game here. We're supposed to get started about noon. The rain has kind of dampened some of the groups coming out, but there are still kids starting to rush into the ballpark here. As soon as this game finishes up, the boys hit the bus, and we all head to Trois-Rivières, just a couple hours to the east of us, about 3 hours drive, where they will face the Eagles in a 3-game set over there. With that, we'll take a look at what the standings look like coming into today. Gateway still ahead there in the West Division. They fell again last night in walk-off fashion to Quebec, who now leads the East with an 8-3 record over there. Schaumburg made some ground up there in the West. They're in second, followed by Washington and Joliet. Lake Erie and Evansville and Windy City all tied there in that 5 spot. Florence bringing up the rear in the West. On the East, of course, Quebec leading with the 8-3 record. Half game behind them is Tri-City. Another half game back is Sussex County. Then you've got the Ottawa Titans right there in the mix of things. A win today could really lift them up there in the East Division. New Jersey, after winning 2 of 3 against Evansville to start off their year, has struggled a little bit. Just 3-5 since then. They're followed by Trois-Rivières, New York, and the Empire State Grays, who are still looking for win number 1. Quite a few games going on today, of course, here in the Frontier League. Game 3 of all of these series, and it doesn't look like there are any double headers needed today either. Windy City and Sussex County are already getting started. Windy City up to a 2-1 lead in the bottom half of the first inning. As we look through the Fox Sports WYFX Frontier League scoreboard, we are just about to get started here in Ottawa. And then about an hour or so after we get started, New York and Lake Erie will face off in a Education Day game there as well. Then the rest of the games have to wait all the way till this evening to get started. Tri-City at Washington, Gateway at Quebec, Florence at Trois-Rivières, Joliet at New Jersey, and Empire State at Schaumburg. Then the whole league changes up a little bit tomorrow as they head to wherever they're going to play next. Gateway's going to come here and play Ottawa. We're going to head over and play Trois-Rivières. Empire State headed to Lake Erie to play the Crushers. Joliet headed to Sussex County to face off with the Miners. Florence stays up here in Canada, and they'll face Quebec. New Jersey on the road at Washington, Tri-City on the road at Schaumburg, and the final weekend series that'll get started tomorrow night, New York at Windy City. But of course, everyone's still got work to do today in Game 3 of this midweek series. The Otters trying to steal one here on the road in Ottawa. We will have first pitch coming at you in just a few minutes live here from Ottawa. And we're pleased you're joining us here on the Otters Digital Network for Game 3 of the Otters three-game set with the Ottawa Titans. It's been all Titans thus far. They've scored all 3 runs of the entire series. Otters still struggling to find home plate. They've had the bases loaded a couple different times in this series, but every time have come up empty-handed. It has certainly not been an easy week to be a hitter. It also has not been an easy week to be a pitcher. A lot of the umpiring thus far has been a struggle for some of these pitchers. As I've talked with a couple of them, they said it's really hard to stay consistent on the mound when I can't have consistency behind the plate. Of course, there have been a couple innings that have kind of been all over the place with some strike zones kind of left and right. But for the most part, it hasn't been too bad. Of course, both pitchers are always going to think that there's a little bit skewed there, but for the most part, uh, there have been a couple of tough innings, and the pitchers have just had to work around it. The infields on both sides have been exceptional. The Otters, especially, loved the play of George Khalil this week there at shortstop. This is an infield that absolutely eats balls as they get hit towards it. You hit one sharply down into that grass, it dies. I mean, right away. And that makes it really tough for some of these pitchers to stay consistent when they can't really trust the infield. They can't really trust the strike zone. Sometimes they really have to put all of their trust in the 8 guys behind them and behind the plate there. And tonight, we're going to get to see Tim Holdgreefer back on the mound. 1-0 to start the year for him with an 0.75 ERA. Exceptional for him in his 12 innings of work. He's allowed just 2 runs on 7 hits, walked 2, and struck out 15. It has been an exceptional start to the year for the Frontier League's reigning strikeout man of last year. Led the entire league and helped lead this Otters pitching staff that led the league with 834 of them. Behind the plates for the Otters will be Justin Felix once again. We got to see Ronnie Allen Jr. behind the plate last night. I thought he did all right for his first start in the season. I'm excited to see more of him if he's a guy who's going to start sticking around on this squad. Of course, once the team gets back home to Indiana, I'd like to also see Dakota Phillips become one of the full-time guys. I think he's developed into a really solid catcher behind the plates, even better at calling balls and strikes for some of his pitchers. Excited to see how he gets reintroduced to the lineup once this team heads home. They have concluded the meeting at the mound, so with that, we'll announce starting lineups as they get the players out there for the 2 national anthems. First for the home team, the Ottawa Titans. They'll start with the center fielder, Will Zimmerman. Batting second, the first baseman, Brennan Dadson. Batting third, the third baseman, A.J. Wright. Batting fourth, the right fielder, Jacob Sanford. Batting fifth, the left fielder, Rodrigo Orozco. Batting sixth, the shortstop, Clay Fisher. Batting seventh, the catcher, Tyrus Green. Batting eighth, the designated hitter, Luke Navigato. And batting ninth, the second baseman, Jackie Urbaez. On the mounds for the Titans today will be Chris Burica. And the starting lineup for the Evansville Otters, they'll start off with the third baseman, Andy Armstrong. Batting second will be one of the new faces, right fielder Trevor McKinley. Batting third, the designated hitter, J.R. Davis. Batting fourth is making his debut out there, the left fielder, Zach Bierman. Batting fifth, the catcher, Justin Felix. Batting sixth, the shortstop, George Khalil. Batting seventh, the center fielder, Miles Gordon. Batting eighth, the first baseman, Ronnie Allen Jr. And rounding up the lineup will be the new face second base, Julius Purrier. Of course, on the mound will be Tim Holgraver. We'll take a mound for the 2 national anthems, and right after this, we've got first pitch here between Ottawa and Evansville as the series concludes here in Ottawa, Ontario. I'm Matthew Will. Thanks for joining us for another edition of Otter Ball right here on the Otter Digital Network. We'll be right back with first pitch. Pleased that you're joining us here, still in the morning there in Evansville, but here this afternoon from Ottawa, Ontario, where the Ottawa Titans and Evansville Otters do battle for one last time this season. Titans got the most of the Otters in games 1 and 2, both of them shutouts. A 2-1 win for the Titans on Tuesday night, a 1-0 win last night. The Otters really just need to finish out an inning. That's what they've got to do. I mean, every time they get themselves an opportunity with runners in scoring position, they have a couple of strikeouts, or they get underneath something too much and fly out, or they've really struggled to make things happen before there's 2 outs on the board. Just about every base runner in yesterday's game, all but one, came with 2 outs, and it's really hard to manage an offense when you have that. Of course, like I mentioned a little bit in the pregame show, there was some inconsistency with the home plate umpire on the side of the Otters, at least they thought so. It resulted in Andy McCauley being tossed there in the 6th inning of last night's game, stating his opinion on what he thought of the strike zone. A couple pitchers did echo some of those thoughts, but regardless, got to be able to play the game regardless of what the strike zone looks every night. The umpires are all human as well. And we're ready to do battle here on a beautiful Thursday morning. The temperature's sitting in the mid to high 50s, 10, 20, or 10, 15 mile an hour winds, basically going from home plate straight out towards left center. Might see a couple long balls, but we are ready to play baseball here. Andy Armstrong will lead off for the Otters. He'll face off against Chris Burica on the mound, who enters the game 1-0 with a 3.60 ERA. He's given up 5 runs on 14 hits across 10 innings of work. Walked 2, struck out 13, and he starts off with a called strike 1 to Armstrong. Burica was drafted by the Padres in the 40th round in 2016. He opted to not sign with the Padres, instead went to college at Creighton University. Only got to play a little bit as he ended up getting hurt, and Armstrong gets a hold of one, sending it out towards left field, towards the wall. Oh, just foul. It had home run distance, but it ends up maybe 5-6 feet left of the foul pole. And the count now at 1-2 to Andy Armstrong. Gets a hold of one and lifts it out towards right center field. Dropping down the right field line, just foul. Ball just held on to that right field line as it carried through the air. Landed maybe 6-8 inches outside of that foul line, and he'll step back in, looking once again at a 1-2 count. Pitch on the way. Armstrong chops it towards the shortstop Fisher. He plays it on one hop across in time to the first baseman Dadson. And Armstrong is retired via the ground ball to start this game off. So with it, the right fielder Trevor Mckinley steps in. McKinley is batting .286 in the 2 games he's played here with the Otters. Currently just 2 hits and 7 at-bats for him. And the first pitch seen by McKinley is fouled out of play to the left side. A couple of kids go running after it. So the 0-1 now to McKinley. Again, puts bat on ball, but just fouls this one into the netting behind home. Don't forget you can join us for the rest of this road trip right here on the Otters Digital Network. A swinging strike 3 from McKinley, and after back-to-back foul balls, he sits down on the swinging strike. We saw plenty of that in the last 2 nights, and it's quickly 2 outs for the Otters. Another thing we've seen plenty of this week. So now J.R. Davis steps in. Davis managed a hit yesterday, but then went hitless in his last 3 opportunities. First offering for him. He lays off, and it's called strike 1. That one just fell into that low inside corner. Nice pitch. The 0-1. This one sent towards left field. hanging onto the line, and it's down. Davis rounding first, misplayed by the left fielder. It won't matter. He would have been safe at second regardless. And it's another 2-out base hit for J.R. Davis. His second in as many nights. And now with another familiar sight here, with 2 outs and a runner in scoring position, Zach Bierman takes to the plate. He's really struggled to stay consistent so far on this road trip. As in the 2 games, he's managed to get on base just twice. Both of them were via the walk. First offering for Bierman. Outside, ball 1. That one looked a bit slower. Maybe the changeup there for Mburica. He likes to throw the fastball, the slider, the changeup. He's got a curve as well. A swinging strike 2. That one once again looked off speed. Bierman cut underneath it and a little in front of it. 1-1 count to Bierman. Picking his corner was Mburica. Gets that high outside corner, and it's now a 1-2 count as Bierman laid off on the pitch. The 1-2 for Bierman. Swinging strike 3 and back-to-back, or 2 strikeouts. Bookended a J.R. Davis double. Into the inning here in the top half of the first. Otters have already left 1 stranded. We head to the bottom half of the first inning right after this here as we get ready for Otters and Evansville here on the Otters Digital Network. So after a ground out and a strikeout, J.R. Davis had a double there in the top half of the first inning. He's stranded at second after Zach Bierman strikes out. A familiar sight for the Otters in this series thus far. And heading out there to begin the game is Tim Holdgreefer on the mound. Holdgreefer in his 2 starts so far this year, boasting a 1-0 record with an 0.75 ERA. Man, has he been good. 12 innings of work, just allowed 2 runs on 7 hits in that time, 2 walks, and 15 strikeouts. He is picking up right where he left off last year. He had his team in a position to win on opening night when he exited the game, but ended up receiving a no decision in the game after the lead was lost in the later innings. We'll walk you around the defensive alignment for the Otters. In left, Zach Bierman. First time out there this season for him. Miles Gordon in center, and Trevor Mckinley out in right. The infield looks pretty similar. Armstrong at third, Khalil at short, Purrier at second, and Ronnie Allen Jr. at first. Justin Felix will take things from behind the plate. And we gave you the .75 ERA for Tim Holdgreefer. The ERA for Justin Felix when he's catching is a 3.05, allowing 20 earned runs across 59 innings behind the plate for him. He's caught 1 of the 7 runners on the base paths so far this year. That came in this series. Nice to see him finally gun down a runner there at second. First pitch to Will Zimmerman, inside, ball 1. Zimmerman has a .400 average entering the game. Now he takes a called strike 1. That one just moved in just a tad, still in that low inside corner. Good work there to even the count by Tim Holdgreefer. 1-1 the count. This one's lined towards Armstrong at third. He plays it on 1 hop. A long throw to first in time. And it's 1 up, 1 down for the Titans. Had a nice conversation with Holdgreefer during batting practice yesterday, just kind of getting his thoughts on how the season started off. He says he's feeling good, the body feels healthy, and he's excited for his chance to pitch here in Canada. A little bit ways from home, as Holgraver, of course, hails from San Diego, California. Long way from home here. Brings up Brendan Dadson, who takes ball one outside to start off the count. Holgraver's got a reliable fastball, but got to be careful as that slider just lives a few mile an hour behind it and can really have a hitter stuck in their shoes. He tried to throw that slider there, and it missed just a bit outside, so the count's now at 2-0 for Brendan Dadson. He also does have a curveball, but he's a little more selective at when he's using that. The 2-0. Little heat behind that pitch, and caught behind it was Brendan Dadson. Count goes to 2-1 now. Pleased you're joining us here on a Thursday morning as the Otters and Titans conclude their three-game set here from Ottawa, Ontario. The 2-1 to Dadson. Man, that one just missed. From where I sit up here, I couldn't tell if it was just a bit high or maybe just a bit outside, but regardless, the count's now at 3-1. Holdgraver thought for sure he'd even the count. Dadson hitting .394 as we enter today's game. The 3-1. This one's lifted out towards left field. Chasing it is Bierman, and it'll land about 10 feet in front of him. He'll run up and play it, and it's a one-out single for Brendan Dadson. So now the third baseman, A.J. Wright, steps in, and A.J. Wright has been pretty fun to watch at times this series thus far. He's had a couple of really solid at-bats, none bigger than his solo home run there in the first game of the series. Ended up just being an insurance run. A.J. Wright has a hit streak of 8 games entering today. Bats .425 on the season. Starts off this count with a called strike one right across the heart of the plate. A.J. Wright played for the University of Maryland, Baltimore. Had a .273 average across almost 200 games. Was a first-team American East All-Conference nominee in 2018. Wright sends one up towards Purrier. They'll give it to second for one. To first in time, and it's a double play to end the inning. That one hit pretty much straight at Purrier. He tossed it over to Khalil, who made a good transfer and throw to first. We're through one full inning. Each squad has a hit. Still nothing on the run column. And we head to the second inning, still scoreless, here from Ottawa. Getting ready for the top half of the second inning here from Ottawa, Ontario. Otters have not scored a run in the first 2 games of this series. Lost on Tuesday 2-0. Lost last night 1-0. Gotta find something here to salvage a game in this series before heading to Trois-Rivières for the rest of the weekend. Forgot to mention it there in the top half of the first, so we'll mention it now. On the mound is Chris Burica, throwing home towards Tyrus Green. That pitcher-catcher battery is sponsored by The Answer Auto Repair East. Find your battery needs at The Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road, or give them a call at 812-475-9000. Started off with a ground out for Andy Armstrong in the top half of the first inning. Then Burica, despite allowing a double, had a couple strikeouts worked in there as well to end the Otters' hopes, and they have already left a man stranded in scoring position. So starting off the top half of the second inning will be the catcher, Justin Felix. First offering for him is way inside, and he's caught swinging at it. Down 0-1 in the count. Felix was 0 for 3 last night with a walk and a strikeout. Looking to salvage something today. 0-1. Felix gets a little better contact on it, but was so far behind it that he just fouls it off a bit. And quickly, he's looking at an 0-2 count. Time called by Felix as he steps back in. The 0-2. Gets contact here and again lifts one high and out of play to the first base side. And it'll get actually over the seating area and out of the stadium. Felix steps back in, looking at 0-2, trying to avoid a strikeout to start off his afternoon. The 0-2 again fouls one off way ahead of that pitch. Sent it towards the Ottawa dugout there on the left side of the infield. So Felix at least trying to make sure that Burica earns the strikeout. Felix ready. The 0-2 on the way. Up high, ball one. This is quite the ballpark here at Ottawa Stadium. Holds 10,332. Now, we haven't seen a crowd that big this week, but on Tuesday night, which was Ottawa's home opener, had about 3,000 here. It was a pretty cool atmosphere. The stadium is just kind of nestled right into one of the business districts here in Ottawa, the capital of Canada. A few government buildings hanging around this area. Metro station right across the way from the stadium. Pretty cool place for this ballpark. The 2-2. Felix again chops one foul. Good to see, even if he ends up losing this battle, it's good to see Justin Felix starting off this year being really defensive in the box and really making sure pitchers have to earn strikeouts or outs against him. Though he only has the 174 batting average entering our game, he's at a 367 on base percentage. So he's at least trying to make sure at least a third of the time he's getting on somehow. The 2-2, he lines into left field and it's down for a base hit. Big round of first base from him, and he'll retreat back to first. A leadoff single for the catcher, Justin Felix. That is big for him. That's his first base hit of the entire series. Couldn't have come at a better time. Now it brings up the 6-hole hitter, a surprise in the 6-hole hitting spot, the shortstop, George Khalil. Khalil was the last hope for the Otters last night with 2 outs, and the bases loaded. He went down with a strikeout. He starts off with a ball high and outside to start off this count. George Khalil's been a fun character to watch so far this year. Even though he struggled at the plate to start off the year, he's been exceptional out in the base paths as he swings at strike one here. His work there at short, though it started a little bit tough in that opening series against New Jersey, has really come back strong. He's been fun to watch out there. The 1-1, he lifts this one out towards right field, catching it on the lines. The right fielder, Sanford, throw back to first, and it's a double play as Felix was caught almost halfway to second. Poor base running ends a no-out runner-on hope for the Otters, and now they quickly have 2 outs and the bases are empty. So, bad base running there. And now Miles Gordon steps up with the bases empty. Shows bunt towards the right side. Picked up by the first baseman, and he's tagged, but the ball leaves the glove of the first baseman. So Gordon's going to round first and make it to second. He made sure when he ran into that glove of the first baseman trying to tag him that he hit the glove hard enough that the ball went flying out, far enough out even that he was able to turn at first and head to second. So, with 2 outs, there's now a runner on second. Ronnie Allen Jr. is brought up to the plate. Still figuring out exactly how they're going to score that. They have had some strange ones. They will say that he singled and then advanced a second on an error. First pitch to Ronnie Allen Jr. in there for a called strike 1. First time we've seen Chris Burica have to look back towards second. It's an 0-1, almost the same place. Allen let it just fly by across the center of the plate, and it's called strike 2. And a statement I've said far too much in this series thus far. Runner on, 2 outs, and a batter's looking at a 0-2 count. This one is lifted out towards right field, way high. But the right fielder, Sanford, gets underneath it, and it's 3 outs here after a poor base running error, and then Miles Gordon taking advantage of an Ottawa error. But regardless, we're still scoreless after an inning and a half. Here as you're listening to Otter Baseball here on the Otters Digital Network, live from Ottawa. Bottom half of the second inning coming at you live here on the Otters Digital Network, live from Ottawa, Ontario. The team concludes their 3-game set with Ottawa here this afternoon, and then they will head to Trois-Rivières, about 3 hours to our east, where they will face the Eagles on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday before heading back to Evansville for a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday series against the Lake Erie Crushers. First time we're going to get to see the West Division this year, and we'll start it off there at Bosse Field. Due up here in the top or bottom half of the second inning, Jacob Sanford, Rodrigo Orozco, and Clay Fisher. First offering to Sanford is left alone. 4-1. Holdgreefer fires home on the 1-0 and catches Sanford swinging at the slider. Count evens up at a ball and a strike. This one has gotten a hold of and sent down right field line, but it'll end up foul by 8 or 10 feet down there. So the count at 1-2 to Jacob Sanford. Holdgreefer waits on the mound, kicks and delivers. Outside, tried to get Sanford to chase. That's a really nice pitch there, but Sanford doesn't buy, and the count evens up at 2-2. Home comes the 2-2. It's lifted up and out of play. They'll get it behind home plate and into the seating area. A couple kids go running after it. Little different looking lineup for the Otters again today. Zach Bierman playing left as Ronnie Allen Jr. takes first. The 2-2 stays a bit too far outside. Felix tried to frame it. Did a little too much, however. Holdgreefer's trying to pick up his first out of this inning. Pitch on the way, and it's chopped into the seating area yet again. Holdgreefer does not have a strikeout yet in the game. A double play helped him get out of that bottom half of the first inning. As he sends home the 2-2 pitch. This one sent out towards center field. Gordon chasing in towards it. And it's there in time for out number 1. It'll bring up the left fielder, Rodrigo Orozco. Orozco grounded into a double play yesterday. That was one of 4 outs for him in our series opener. Orozco reached on 2 separate occasions, a walk and a single. He came around to score the game-winning run in that first game. His first offering in this one stays a bit low and inside for ball 1. Holdgreefer readies himself. Now a 1-0. That one on the outside half of the plate, but it must have stayed a bit too far outside as it's now 2-0. Hard to attack that outside corner with that umpire set up so far inside. The 2-0 to Orozco. Right across the heart of the plate. No denying that was a strike. Orozco has not shown any interest in lifting that bat off his shoulders so far in the at-bat. Here comes the 2-1. Grounded down the right field line. Stays foul, however. Orozco's from Panama City, Panama. And he was actually signed by the Toronto Blue Jays back in 2012. He was in the organization for a couple of years down in the single A, double A areas before finding his way to independent ball, and it's a strike 3 pitch to Rodrigo Orozco, the first strikeout of the game for Tim Holdgreefer on a strikeout swinging there on the another pitch that just kind of made Orozco have to chase after it. So with 2 outs, now the shortstop Clay Fisher steps in. Fisher's first offering, right across the heart of the plate, strike 1. Fisher's only batting .190 at this point in the season. Does have a .244 on base percentage, but he's looking to jumpstart his offensive production. A swinging strike 2 on a pitch that just broke away from him. A lot of nice movement there from Holdgreefer. And in the span of 2 batters, Holdgreefer could pick up his first 2 strikeouts of the game. Kick and delivery on the 0-2. Again, that same pitch that just broke towards the outside area of the plate, maybe even towards the outside batter's box. And this time, Fisher won't bite at it, so the count goes to 1-2. Fisher digs in and he's ready. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs here. Foul ball is sent up and out of play towards the first base side. A couple fans go running after that one. And Fisher will have to get himself ready for another edition of the 1-2 count. 2 outs, nobody on here the bottom half of the second inning. Here comes the 1-2. Try it again with that pitch, breaking towards the outside. Fisher once again decides to not be interested in it. Count now at 2-2. Holdgreefer trying to win the battle here, pick up his second strikeout of the game. And he'll get it on a swinging strike 3. Once again, returning to that pitch that broke away. Holdgreefer picks up strikeout number 2 and sits down the side in order. We head to the third inning, still scoreless from Ottawa. Good work from the Otters there in the bottom half of the second to keep the Titans from even running towards a base, really. And we head to the third inning now, still scoreless from Ottawa. We've had a lot of innings like that this week thus far, as both squads have struggled to score and struggled to even pick up hits. Julius Purrier, the 9-hole hitter, will start off this third inning for the Otters. He'll be followed by Andy Armstrong and Trevor McKinley. Purrier, after 2 games with the Otters, struggling thus far, and he lines out to the third baseman on a laser that way. 1 pitch, 1 out. Just about snuck that past the third baseman Wright. Had he done so, it probably would have been a double for him. So now we head back to the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, Andy Armstrong, who's 0 for 1 with a groundout. Showing bunt is Armstrong. He gets the third baseman now to play a little bit more conservative. The pitch was way up high, though, for ball 1. Get on the 1-0. This one's just barely chopped foul towards the right side. And the count evens up. One, and again Armstrong showing bunts. He pulls back in time, and it's ball 2 outside. The 2-1. Good contact there, but it goes in the wrong direction. Fouled off into the seating area on the first base side. 3 games at Trois-Rivières in the weekend, and the team heads home to face Lake Erie next week. Tuesday will be Taco Tuesday. Man, you got to join us for that. Get your ticket now at EvansvilleOtters.com, or you can stop by the Bossy Field box office. They'll have people there all week to get you hooked up with tickets, as Armstrong takes a pitch just a bit too high and is now looking at a full count, 3-2. Then you can join us for Senior Connection Wednesday, next Wednesday, with Lake Erie in town. Armstrong dribbles one towards the shortstop, who picks it up and fires over to first, and closer play there Armstrong's down on his second ground out to the shortstop today. And now with 2 outs, the right fielder Trevor Mckinley steps in. And then the series with Lake Erie next Thursday concludes with another edition of Thirsty Thursday. Love to see you out there as the Otters face Lake Erie for the first time this year on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday next week. Buy your tickets at EvansvilleOtters.com. Give a call to the box office now at 812-435-8686, or you can stop by and see one of our lovely staff members, and they'll get you hooked up with your tickets. A 1-1 count misses up high, and McKinley out to a 2-1 lead in the count. The pitch now, he thinks about going. It stays high at inside, and he's ahead in the count 3-1. McKinley struck out in his last opportunity there in the first inning. His 3-1 chance lays off, and it's outside for ball 4. And once again, the Otters have a runner on with 2 outs. So now the designated hitter J.R. Davis steps up. Davis is 1 for 1 with a double there in the first inning. Pitch on the way, a hard swing from him, but he comes up empty-handed, 0-1 in the count. They have changed the hit from Miles Gordon into an error that last half inning. As Davis sends one towards the third baseman on the ground, they'll go to second for the only out they need. And after 2.5 innings, still scoreless here from Ottawa. 3 combined hits. We're in line for another edition of Close Baseball here from Ottawa. And we are just about set for the bottom half of the third inning. Take this second to take a look at what things look like in the Frontier League coming into today. Gateway still leads the West Division despite losing their second straight game to Quebec. This one on a walk-off last night. Schaumburg is right behind them. Washington and Joliet round out the top 4. Evansville, Lake Erie, and Windy City all coming there in fifth place with a 5-6 record, and the Yalls round things out with their 3-7. On the East, Quebec out to the advantage there with a half-game lead on Tri-City, who's got a half-game lead on Sussex County. Don't rule out this Ottawa team there right there behind. The back half of the East, however, all under 500. New Jersey, Trois-Rivières, New York, and Empire State, who's still looking for win number 1. So leading off the bottom half of the third inning is going to be the catcher Tyrus Green. Green batting .222 on the season. Still struggling to find a consistent groove. First hit here, and it's down the corner, down the right field line. Finally picked up by McKinley, and he'll be in there with a stand-up double. Got past the diving first baseman Ronnie Allen Jr., and it's a leadoff double to start the bottom half of the third inning here for Tyrus Green. Well, there's not a lot of first basemen that could have made that play there. So now the designated hitter Luke Navigato steps in. Navigato just batting 130 on the season. Only 3 hits and 23 appearances at the plate. First pitch for him. Slider in there for strike 1. Long wait now between pitches for Tim Holdgreefer. First time he's had to look back at a guy on second. The 0-1. Hard swinging strike 2, and Navigato falls down 0-2 in the count. Good pitch there that just stayed inside. Kind of had Navigato choked up on the bat a bit. See what Holdgreefer goes to on an 0-2 pitch. On the way. Again with the slider. This one towards the low outside corner, and it's in there for a swinging strike 3. And it is the third German-American Bank strikeout of the game for Tim Holdgreefer. And now for the first time today, the second baseman, Jackie Urbaez, steps in. Urbaez reached on 2 of the 3 appearances he had last night, 1 on a single and 1 on a hit by pitch. But he was caught between first and second after his single. Holdgreefer sends home the first pitch to Urbaez, catches him swinging at a pitch just outside the wheelhouse. Holdgreefer really content to take his time between pitches here. Urbaez has a 9-game hitting streak intact. And he watches strike 2 go across the outside half of the plate. He's down 0-2 in the count. Urbaez was a second-team NAIA All-American in 2018 when he was at St. Thomas University. He even played a little bit in Evansville. Pitch way outside the zone. Felix has to go running after it, and because of it, Tyrus Green is going to take third base. I imagine that'd be a wild pitch, as it was way out there. But I'll make sure I wait and see that they're going to call it a wild pitch. So with 1 out, Jackie Urbaez has a chance for a RBI with a runner just 90 feet away. The 1-2 from Holdgreefer just misses on the high side, and the count evens up at 2-2. Whole infield is playing way in. I mean, just about all 4 of them have their toes on the infield grass. Pretty standard depth for the outfielders, however, who are just a bit skewed to the left. A 2-2 for Jackie Urbaez. And he fouls it off into the netting in front of the Otters dugout on the first base side. Wind is really whipping into this ballpark now. Basically straight out towards center from home plate. Looks like it's 13 mile an hour is what they're reporting. The 2-2 for Urbaez. Stays outside, maybe a bit low as well. And it's now a full count. Well, so far in this series, the Otters pitchers have really struggled to win the battles on full count pitches. This would be a really important one for Tim Holdgreefer to put in his back pocket. The 3-2. Popped up towards the left side of the foul territory, and it just gets away from Andy Armstrong. He thought he had got underneath it, and then it carried behind his back, and he drops it. So the count stays at 3-2, and will the Otters be wishing they had that one back? Three and two to Jackie Urbaez, a runner on third with one out for the Titans. The pitch from Holdgreefer. This one's high, staying in the infield. Andy Armstrong calls everyone off at third and pulls it in and redeems himself after the misplay in the foul territory. And now there are two outs as we head back to the top of the order, where the center fielder Will Zimmerman will step in. Zimmerman has really struggled in this series. He reached on a walk last night, did have a triple that didn't end up helping at all on Tuesday night. Other than that, 3 strikeouts and 3 groundouts. First pitch for Zimmerman. Takes it for a called strike one on the high outside corner. Tyrus Green stands on third with 2 outs. 0-1 the count to Will Zimmerman. Pitch on the way from Holdgraver. Swinging strike 2 on an off speed. Way out in front of it was Will Zimmerman. So another chance for Holdgraver to get himself out of an inning with a strikeout. He's already got 3 on the game. Decent weight on the mound for Holdgraver. A glance out towards third. The 0-2 to Zimmerman. Way outside, opposite batter's box. Felix does a nice job to keep it in front of him. Tyrus Green is quick enough there at third that if anything gets past Felix, he's likely scoring from third. So the count now at 1-2 with 2 outs and a runner on third. Still scoreless here in Ottawa. Tim Holdgraver is trying to keep it that way. So home comes the 1-2. Just misses on the outside. Felix tried to help frame it a little bit as well. So the deuces are wild. 2-2 count, 2 outs, a runner on third. Zimmerman waits on the 2-2. Pitch on the way. Sends right back up the middle, and it's into the outfield. So a run's going to score as Zimmerman sent that one right past the head of Tim Holdgraver and into center field, an RBI single for Will Zimmerman. And our scoreless tie has been broken by the Titans. Third night in a row that they've scored the opening run. So with 2 outs and a runner on first now, Brendan Dadson steps up. First pitch to Dadson. Arms it to the left side. Armstrong picks it up. Throw over to first in time, and the inning ends. But not before an RBI single scores the first run of the game for the Titans. This one off the bat of Will Zimmerman. We head to the 4th inning with the scoreless tie finally broken. Ottawa leads 1-0. The scoreless tie is broken in favor of Ottawa once again. They have scored the first run in all 3 games this series. And the Otters are going to have to come from behind. Due up in the inning, Zach Bierman, Justin Felix, and George Khalil. Bierman 0 for 1 on the game with a strikeout in the first inning. That strikeout came with a runner on second. Another chance for Bierman with a runner in scoring position that he wasn't able to capitalize on. First pitch, and Bierman with a hard swinging strike one. He was way out in front of that pitch. And another hard swing has him down in the count 0-2. Quickly, the third pitch, and he fouls it back into the netting. Another quick pitch, the 0-2. High outside, misses for ball 1. Chris Burica wasting no time on the mound. Right away, here comes the 1-2. Lifted up by Bierman, it stays in the infield, way up in the air. And it's the second baseman, Urbias, who brings it in for the first out of the inning. So now the catcher, Justin Felix, steps in. He singled in the second inning to start off that second inning. But then on a fly out from George Khalil, he was caught almost, maybe even 3/4 of the way to second and was not able to get back to first in time and got caught retreating back to base. But he was able to get a base hit his first time up. We'll see if he can do it again here. First pitch across for ball 1. Felix with a deep breath before he steps in again. The 1-0 lifted over the netting and back into the seating area behind home. Lands right in a group of kids, and they all dive towards the ball. Out on the field, though, the count at 1-1 for Justin Felix. Here comes the 1-1. It stays a bit inside, also in the dirt, it looked like. So Felix takes a slight lead in the count, 2-1. Kick and delivery from Burica. This one's hit really hard, but too far underneath it is Felix. And Urbias will step back onto the center field grass to bring it in for the second out. Another pop out to start off this fourth inning. So now the shortstop, George Khalil, walks up to the plate. He flew out to right field his first time up. Was part of that double play. First offering for him is pulled into the strike zone for strike 1, thanks to the frame job from Green. Quickly, the 0-1. Khalil arms it down the third base line, but it gets just foul. Even if it didn't get foul, Wright made a really good play over there. Probably would have had him gunned down at first. George Khalil hails from Melbourne, Australia. Looking at an 0-2 count here. Inside. Ball 1 on the mound. Burica thought for sure he had gotten called strike 3. He was already almost what it seemed like halfway back to the dugout. Instead, he has to throw the 1-2. And that pitch, Khalil lifts up and out of play behind home plate. Man, Burica wastes no time on the mound. Here comes the 1-2 right away. A bit outside and maybe high as well. He glances out to the scoreboard, which shows a 2-2 count with 2 outs for George Khalil. And gets Khalil to chase something down low for a swinging strike 3. 3 up, 3 down in the 4th inning. And the Otters still struggling to find both the hits and runs category in this one. They trail 1-0 as we head to the bottom half of the 4th inning. Ready for the bottom half of the 4th inning here, and the Otters once again struggling at the plate. So they're going to have to rely once again on their starting man, Tim Holdgreefer, to keep the game where it's at. He'll be facing the 3, 4, 5 hitters, and A.J. Wright, Jacob Sanford, and Rodrigo Orozco. Wright grounded into a double play his first time up. The first offering here. A bit inside, but it's called strike 1 for Holdgraver. There is an individual starting to stretch for the Otters out there. Could mean anything, though. The 0-1 for Wright. Hard swinging strike 2 to pitch high in the zone. And this is where we might see Tim Holdgrafer's expertise on the 0-2. This pitch on the inside corner, and it's called strike 3. Had A.J. Wright stuck in his shoes on that pitch. And it's the 4th German-American Bank strikeout of the game for Tim Holdgrafer. So now Jacob Sanford, the right fielder, walks up for his second chance at the dish today. Flew out to center his first time up. First offering to Sanford, outside ball 1. Sanford has a 2-game hitting streak going right now. He was drafted in round 3 of the 2019 draft by the New York Yankees out of Western Kentucky, where he was named a first-team All-American and the Conference USA Player of the Year and Newcomer of the Year in his first year there at Western Kentucky. 1-1 for Jacob Sanford. Lifts one out towards left field. Chasing after it is Zach Bierman. Towards the warning track. Makes a catch over his right shoulder. Man, he ran into the wall after making that catch. It just kept carrying as the wind is blowing hard out towards center. But it's a really long out number 2 for Jacob Sanford. So now with 2 down, the left fielder Rodrigo Orozco steps in. 0 for 1 with a strikeout so far in the game. Orozco out of Panama. Takes ball 1 to start. While he was in the Jays organization, he actually spent time in the minor leagues with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Bo Bichette. The 1-0 for him. This one's towards the high outside corner, but it stays a bit outside. And it's now a 2-0 count. Two balls, no strikes. As Orozco waits for the next pitch, chops it towards the right side. It gets foul, however. That ball got a ton of air on it after he sent it straight into the dirt. And then it took a sharp right turn towards the dugout of the Otters on the right side. 2-1 now the count. Holdgriefer's already ready up there on the mound. And now he kicks and delivers. So one sent towards left field, but it just curves and curves and curves and gets foul. And the count is now at 2-2 with 2 outs and no one on here in the bottom half of the 4th inning. Glad you're joining us here for afternoon baseball from Ottawa, Ontario. The 2-2 from Holdgreefer. Sent towards Allen Jr. at first. He'll pick it up and play it himself for the 3rd out of the inning. 3 up, 3 down for Tim Holdgreefer. We head to the 5th inning with the Otters trailing 1-0 here on the Otters Digital Network. Top half of the 5th inning as we're moving along well here in Ottawa, Ontario. The rain chances we thought we were going to see all day have dissipated. It'll pick back up later tonight here, but nothing to worry about here for the afternoon of baseball. Rained all morning, but then about 10 o'clock it all stopped. They were able to get the tarp off the field, and we're playing baseball. The Titans have the narrow 1-0 lead. They scored that on the RBI single from Will Zimmerman that brought home Tyrus Green. Miles Gordon leading off for the Otters. First pitch he sees, he fouls down the right field line. And he's quickly back into the box. Chris Burica really wants to pitch quick this afternoon. This one stays a bit low, and the count evens up at a ball and a strike. And before the 1-1 can get thrown, Burica was already ready to go. Gordon called time. One ball, one strike. Gordon lets it go by. And now it's a 2-1. Hard swing from Gordon, and the count ends up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Gordon's actually from Oakville, Ontario, about 5 hours from here. Sends one right back up the middle. Tough play from the shortstop Fisher to first. In time, what a play. Man, Fisher had to make a lot of ground to get to that ball in time. Not only did he get there, made a nice exchange and got it to first in plenty of time to sit down Miles Gordon to start off this fifth inning. So now the first baseman, Ronnie Allen Jr., will take his second look at things. His last time up, there was 2 outs and there was a runner on second. He left him stranded. And he watches ball 1 go by high and outside. Lifts the second pitch way high, stays in the infield. The second baseman, Urbaez, is underneath it, and that's 2 outs here in the fifth inning. If there's been one consistent in a week of inconsistencies for the Otters, it has been they are really good about picking up 2 outs right away on the offensive side of things, and then have to do all their work with 2 down. In fact, in our game here, only 1 base runner came with less than 1 out, or less than 2 outs. First pitch for Julius Purrier. He shows bunts, gets out of the way in time, and it's ball 1, low and inside. That one just about hit him. So now a 1-0. Gets good barrel on this, sends it out towards center field. Zimmerman doesn't have to move at all, however, and hauls it in for out number 3. Really quick, 3 up, 3 down there for the Otters. And we head to the bottom half of the fifth inning. Otters still scoreless. Ottawa have won. Bottom of the fifth inning here. Otters with just 2 hits. Not much more for Ottawa. They've only got 3, but they do have a run to show for it. They'll start off with their 6, 7, 8 hitters with Clay Fisher, who struck out his first time up. The right-handed hitter steps in here to face the right-handed arm of Tim Holdgreefer, who has not been too bad to start things off here this afternoon. First pitch to Fisher is chopped foul to the left side. Grounded 8 or 10 feet off the foul line. 4 strike 1. The 0-1 for Clay Fisher. Holdgreefer kicks and delivers. Gets too much underneath this one and fouls it into the netting behind home plate. So the count now at 0-2. Scoreboard shows 1-2. There we go. Now I've got it fixed. 0-2 to Clay Fisher. Holdgreefer fires into the outside batter's box for ball 1. Lost the hold of that one. Holdgreefer has 4 strikeouts so far in the game. Trying to locate number 5 here. The 1-2. And it is strikeout number 5. That's a German-American Bank strikeout for Tim Holdgreefer. All 5 have come swinging as well. So now Tyrus Green steps in. He had a leadoff double to start the third inning. Then he was brought home on a Will Zimmerman RBI single. His first opportunity in this at-bat sent screaming into the netting behind home plate for strike one. Right away, back into the batter's box. Holdgreefer opting to take a little more time between pitches. And the 0-1. Swinging strike two. Holdgreefer just zoomed that one past him. So the count now at 0-2, favoring Tim Holdgreefer. Gets his sign, kicks, and sends home the 0-2. Stays just a bit low. Felix keeps it right there in front of him. Doesn't matter, no one on, but still, nice job for Felix to keep it right there. And the count at 1-2. Holdgreefer nods at his sign and sends it home. Now it's lined to the right side, foul. Down the right field line. Time is called as they have to run out and grab that ball. So the count at 1-2. Holdgreefer trying to pick up strikeout number 6. Ooh, really good looking pitch there on the low outside corner. Green lays off and it's labeled a ball. Count now at 2-2. Holdgreefer steps off, resets things, and is now ready for the 2-2 to Tyrus Green. The pitch. That one a little further outside, but it's called strike 3. So for the first time in the game, Tim Holdgreefer has a strikeout looking at his 6th German American Bank strikeout of the game. So now the designated hitter, Luke Navigato, steps in. He's 0 for 1 with a strikeout so far. Looking at looking at the bases empty and 2 outs for him. First pitch he sees, he sends out towards shallow right field, and stepping back to make the catch is Purrier. And we have a 3-up, 3-down for the Titans as we head to the 6th inning. Ottawa has a narrow 1-0 lead here on the home for the Otters. On the road, the Otters Digital Network. And we are set for the top half of the 6th inning. Due up for the Otters, the 1-2-3 hitters of Armstrong, McKinley, and Davis. And it'll start with the Edward Jones, leadoff hitter of the game, Andy Armstrong. He is 0 for 2 with a pair of groundouts right at the shortstop. One of them could have probably been a base hit. That second one he hit, but the infield grass here that just eats balls grabbed that one as soon as he sent it on the ground towards short, and the ball just died. Takes a called strike one and then swings just now to pitch low and inside, and is down in the count 0-2 quickly. Pitch right away. The 0-2's lifted up high. 4-1. Chris Burka wastes no time on the mound. Already the 1-2. Way inside. Having to lift the foot to get out of the way of it is Andy Armstrong, and the count now at 2-2. Burka with the 2-2 to Armstrong. Armstrong lifts it out towards left field, but Orozco does not have to move an inch. He was perfectly placed out there, and it's out number one via the flyout for Armstrong. So now the right fielder Trevor Mckinley steps in. 0 for 1 with a strikeout and a walk so far. First chance for him. He grounds towards the first baseman, who will play it himself. And it's quickly 2 up, 2 down for the Otters. So now the designated hitter, J.R. Davis, ready for his third opportunity of the game. 1 for 2 with a double and a fielder's choice. The Otters head to Trois-Rivières at the conclusion of this game. They'll face the Eagles Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You can catch all games right here on the Otters Digital Network. First pitch to Davis. Low and inside, almost in the dirt, but it's called strike one. Davis right back in there. Now an 0-1. Pitch on the way. High outside. Count evens up at a ball and a strike. Burka gets his sign, ready on the 1-1. Hard swinging strike two from Davis, and the count now at 1-2. If you want to keep up to date with all of the Otters news, you can follow them on Twitter and Facebook. And you can grab tickets at evansvilleotters.com. Go into the Boxy Field box office, or you can call 812-435-8686, and they'll hook you up with tickets. 1-2 is high and away for ball two. Sure, there's still lots available for next Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday as the Otters face off with the Lake Erie Crushers for the first time this season. Deuce is wild. The 2-2 for J.R. Davis. Thinks about going. They say no, he did not. So it's going to be a full count here with 2 outs. Once again, Chris Burka already halfway towards the dugout, thinking for sure he had gotten the third strike. He'll have to try again. This one on a 3-2. The pitch sent towards the left side. Shortstop backhands it. Long throw to Dadson at first. He stretches an enormous amount of way to snag that ball, and it's 3 outs in the top half of the 6th inning. 3 up, 3 down for the third straight inning for the Otters. We head to the bottom half of the 6th, still separated by 1 run. Bottom of the 6th inning, coming at you live on the Otters Digital Network, where you can catch every Otters game on the road. I'm Matthew Will, joining you for another edition of Otter Ball. I'll bring you every single game all season long at Flow Sports there at home, here on the Otters Digital Network on the road. And we're ready for the bottom half of the 6th inning. Tim Holdgreefer still out there putting in good work. And due up for the Titans, the 9-1-2 hitters of Urbaez, Zimmerman, and Dadson. Urbaez 0 for 1 with a pop out to start. First pitch is outside, ball 1. Holdgreefer just kind of shrugs it off and steps back up, quickly ready for the 1-0. And the pitch is on the way. Same place. That one's called strike 1. Does look like Jake Polancic is starting to stretch out there for the Otters. See if maybe that means anything or not. A 1-1 for Jackie Urbaez, who sends it out towards right field, and it's down for a base hit. Right between the first baseman and second baseman. And he's got his first hit of the game, and his hit streak now gets to 10 games. So back to the top of the order we go, to the center fielder Will Zimmerman, who's 1 for 2 with an RBI single and a ground out. Zimmerman has a 10-game on-base streak that he extended the last time up. Showing bunt was Zimmerman. He pulls away, and it's ball 1. Long wait between pitches for Tim Holdgreefer. A glance over to first. And here comes the 1-0. Again showing bunt is Will Zimmerman, but he caught just a tiny bit of it, and it's given as strike 1, so the count evens up at a ball and a strike. Tim Holdgreefer starting to take a little more time between pitches, get a little more methodical about things. The 1-1 for Zimmerman, who sends it towards Khalil at short. To second for 1. Oh, no! It's dropped by the second baseman Purrier as he tried to make the exchange from his glove to his hand. And now Andy McCauley's coming out saying that should have been at least 1 out as he stepped on second, and then the exchange was bad before the throw. So it should be 1 out here. But they called him safe at second out there. So McCauley's out there in the infield having a discussion, and the umpires are going to have a quick talk. Because Purrier stepped on the base with the glove with the ball in his glove. Then as he tried to make the exchange to his throwing hand, that's when he lost it. So the umpires have discussed, and they're saying, no, he's safe at second. And now McCauley's going to go out and have a second word. He wants at least explanation. Might see Andy McCauley get tossed for the second night in a row now. He's headed out towards the first base umpire, Hughes Lafreniere, to get a couple extra words in. It wasn't even Hughes Lafreniere who made the call, but he is the head umpire. McCauley must have gotten whatever words he wanted to say in. He's still mentioning a couple as he walks back towards the dugout. And it looks like he's going to survive this altercation. But there are now no runners out and runners on first and second. What should have been a double play and a misplay by Purrier at second results in no outs. I imagine they'll credit that an error. No, they're going to say that Zimmerman reached on a fielder's choice. And advancing to second was Urbaez because of the error. So here comes first pitch to Dadson, and he takes it for a called strike one. Runners on first and second here for the Titans in the bottom half of the sixth inning. Tim Holdgreefer trying to keep the Otters' disadvantage at one run. Pitch in the outside zone is brought in by Felix, and the count heads to 1-1. A lot of issues with the scoreboard here this week. Hasn't been right on most of the pitches. And it's kind of fooling some of the players out there as well. The 1-1 to Dadson is called strike two. The scoreboard showed 2 strikes, but now it's the second strike. 1-2 the count to Brennan Dadson. Holgraver's taking his time on the mound, waiting for a pitch call. A look out to second, and here comes the 1-2. Just misses on the outside part of the plate, so the count goes to 2-2. So we'll have to wait for the next pitch here. Dadson looking at a 2-2 count, no outs, runners on first and second for the Titans. Holdgreefer on the 2-2. Same place, and it's still called a ball right there on the outside part of the plate. The count is now full. So Holdgreefer trying to win the battle. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Brendan Dadson with no outs. Pitch on the way, and it's a swinging strike 3 for Brendan Dadson. And finally, the first out of the inning brought in by the Otters. So now A.J. Wright will hop up there. 0 for 2 with a ground into double play and strikeout so far. That strikeout for Tim Holdgreefer is his 7th German American Bank strikeout of the day. Runners stay at first and second as the first pitch heads home to Wright. Catches zone on the outside corner for called strike 1. We saw the bench boss, Kenny McCauley, get tossed last night. Also happened against Quebec there on Saturday evening. Yep. I thought for sure was going to get the boot here as he was trying to argue for his infielders. He had thought for sure they had gotten it out there at second. Instead, he was just informed to head back to the dugout. He did with a few words back towards it and keeps himself in the game. 1-1 to A.J. Wright. Titans have runners on first and second with just 1 out. Holgraver, the long lance to second before the 1-1, and it's a swinging strike 2 on that pitch that breaks away from the zone. He's caught a lot of Titans off guard with that one so far today. So it's 1 ball and 2 strikes to A.J. Wright. Holgraver trying to grab strikeout 2 of the inning. And here comes the pitch. It's lifted foul to the right side. Chasing after it's McKinley, and it'll drop in the bullpen over there in right field. So a really long foul ball keeps us at 1-2. Out there on second is Jackie Urbaez. Will Zimmerman at first. Just one out here for the Titans, and A.J. Wright's looking at a 1-2 count. So here comes the pitch. Fouled back towards the right side of the backstop. And we stay even at this, or stay at this 1-2 count. Otters back in action tomorrow. About 3 hours to the east of here as they'll face Trois-Rivières. First, Tim Holdgreefer is trying to get the Otters out of this inning. A 1-2 to A.J. Wright. The kick and delivery. Gets inside and actually catches A.J. Wright. And the bases are now loaded after a hit by pitch. So now the bases are loaded in a situation that should have just had, or that should have had nobody on the double play, and a poor transfer from glove to hand from Purrier. Let runners stay on first and second. The trainers are going to go take a look at A.J. Wright, and with that, Max Peterson's going to make the walkout and have a talk with his starting pitcher, Tim Holdgreefer. And in that time, an arm will start to get loose for the Otters. It's going to be Brady Tedesco, who until yesterday was the lone lefty in the entire pitching staff for the Otters. But they signed starting pitcher Brett Adcock, who is now the second lefty a part of the staff. It'll be the first time that we have seen Tedesco since the 21st, which was that Saturday night game against Quebec. He just went in for 1 out, got it done with a strikeout, and that's all he's seen, really. Sanford waits for the first pitch here, and it's low for ball 1 with the bases loaded. Peterson is hanging close to the exit of the dugout there, as Sanford steps back in now for the 1-0. Bases loaded, 1 out for the Titans here. Pitch on the way. He sends it down the left field foul line, and had that one stayed fair, it would have scored 2, maybe even 3, with how far to the right Zach Bierman's playing out there in left field. Instead, it's dribbled foul, and the count evens up at a ball and a strike. Tim Holdgreefer trying to bail the Otters out after his defense failed him a couple of plays ago. Bases loaded, 1 out, 1-1 to Jacob Sanford. He clips it just a second and fouls it away. So the count at 1-2. Ottawa has a 1-0 lead here in the bottom half of the 6th inning. In the series finale between these two, the season finale between these two as well, the only way they would face each other again would have to be in the Frontier League Championship Series. The 1-2 for Sanford. Swinging at a pitch low for strike 3, and a huge strikeout there for Tim Holdgreefer. His 8th German American Bank strikeout of the game. So now the left fielder Rodrigo Orozco steps in. 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a ground out so far in this one. Titans are trying to not strand the bases loaded, a feat that the Otters did twice yesterday. Pitch on the way. It misses outside for ball 1. A lot of cloud cover here in Ottawa, but no rain is expected until 9-10 o'clock this evening. Holdgreefer ready for the 1-0 with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Right across the heart of the plate, and the count evens up at a ball and a strike. Holdgraver is also trying to keep hold of that stellar 0.75 ERA. Holgraver has his pitch call. A look out towards third. The 1-1. Man, really tough call there on a pitch on the outside. And it is called as ball 2. Justin Felix left the catcher's mitt there for 3 or 4 seconds, thinking for sure it should have been called strike 2. Instead, it's a 2-1 count now. Bases loaded, 2 outs. The delivery from Holgraver. Sent on a line towards the third baseman. First baseman Allen plays it off the ground, and he takes care of it himself. Bases loaded jam does not come back to haunt the Otters, and it is still a 1-0 lead in favor of Ottawa after 6 full innings. This is Otters Baseball coming at you live here on the Otters Digital Network, here from Ottawa, Ontario. Top half of the 7th inning. Coming at you here from Ottawa, Ontario. Titans hold a narrow 1-0 advantage over the Otters. And 3 straight innings. The Otters have gone 3 up, 3 down. Haven't had a base runner since the 3rd. Haven't had a base hit since the 2nd. They need some offense, and they need it quick. They'll start off with the left fielder, Zach Bierman. That'll be followed by Justin Felix and George Khalil. First opportunity stays high for ball 1. Brady Tedesco has sat down out there in right. Wonder if that means Tim Holgraver will stay in this game, as it is a called strike 1 now in the high outside corner. Count evens up at a ball and a strike. Pitch already on the way. That one a little further outside, and it's ball 2. Bierman lifts one up and out of play to the left side, so a count now quickly at 2-2. Chris Burica wastes no time on the mound. He just got the ball. 3 seconds later, here comes the 2-2 pitch. And again, Bierman fouls it off into the seating area behind home. And here comes the 2-2 right after. And a pitch outside is called strike 3. Zach Bierman can't believe the call. He argues on his way back to the dugout. And his coaches just say, come on, come on, come on. But he sits down with a strikeout to start off the inning. So now the catcher, Justin Felix, will make his way to the plate. Felix is 1 for 2 with a single there in the second inning. Then he popped out to the second baseman his second time up. His first chance on a line towards the left fielder. He plays it off the ground and slipping and gets it to first in time. That turned into a really tough play for the third baseman, Wright, as his foot kind of got lost in the dirt down there. But it's 2 up, 2 down here for the Otters, and it'll bring up the shortstop, George Khalil. Khalil has a flyout and a strikeout so far in the game. Khalil is riding just 1 hit in the whole series. That came in Tuesday's game. First pitch he sees, he bunts down the left field line, or the third base line, and it just dribbles foul. Had he kept that one fair, he might have been able to beat the throw to first. Would have been a close play, but I guess it doesn't matter now. The 0-1, showing bunt yet again was Khalil, and it's called strike 2. So now with 2 outs, the Otters quickly seeing an 0-2 count to George Khalil, and just like that, the next inning could be done. Pitch is in the dirt for ball 1. Wind is still sitting steady at about 15 mile an hour out towards left field. And Khalil swings and misses at strike 3. A 4-pitch strikeout for him. And it's 3 up, 3 down for the 4th straight inning for the Otters. We head to the bottom half of the 7th. Still looking at a 1-0 lead for Ottawa. This is Otters Baseball coming at you live on the Otters Digital Network here from Ottawa, Ontario. Ready for the bottom half of the 7th inning, and the Otters' offensive woes continue. Another 3 up, 3 down inning for them. And it is Tim Holdgreefer who stays on the mound for the Otters to start off the bottom half of the 7th inning. And with it, Brady Tedesco hops right back out on the mound in the bullpen for the Otters, just in case he's needed. Holgraver starts with a ball 1 to Clay Fisher. Fisher has struck out twice already in the game. The 1-0 looked right down the middle, must have been a bit low. I just couldn't tell that placement too well here, and it's now a 2-0 count. This one's chopped right back up towards Holgraver. He'll throw to first for the first out of the inning on just a miss hit there from Clay Fisher. It'll bring up the catcher, Tyrus Green. He had a double in the 3rd inning, came around to score after, and that's currently the winning run. Then he struck out looking in the 5th inning. First pitch on the outside corner for a called strike 1. Here comes the 0-1. Almost the same placement, maybe a little bit low. So the count evens up at a ball and a strike. Holdgreefer with a bit of an open stance there on the mound. The windup and the pitch. This one's chopped towards Purrier at second. It's actually Allen who plays it. He'll throw over to Holdgreefer, who steps on first for out number 2. Would have been a long way for Purrier to go, so good work for Allen to just step back and rely on Holdgreefer to get over there to first in time. So now with 2 outs, the designated hitter Luke Navigato steps up. Navigato 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a flyout so far. First offering on the outside low corner for strike 1 called. Here comes the 0-1. This one is reached for and lifted out of play to the first base side. No balls and 2 strikes to Luke Navigato. Holdgreefer is trying to pick up strikeout number 9. And he does. A swinging strike 3 is good for the 9th German American Bank strikeout of the game for Tim Holdgreefer. We head to the top half of the 8th inning. Still just 1 run in this game. It's Otters baseball coming at you live on the Otters Digital Network here from Ottawa. Top of the 8th inning. Otters still trying to find something offensively. And they're going to rely on the 7, 8, 9 hitters to get it started in the 8th inning. Miles Gordon, Ronnie Allen Jr., and Julius Purrier due up. Miles Gordon digs in. 0 for 2, reaching on the air in the 2nd and grounding out in the 5th. It kind of looks like Tim Holdgreefer's day might be done now as Brady Tedesco remains out there on the mound in the bullpen. If so, another solid outing for Tim Holdgreefer, as it's called strike 1 for Gordon. If that is it for Holdgreefer, he goes 7 complete innings and strikes out 9, only allows 1 run on 4 hits as Gordon sends one screaming down that right field foul line It stays just foul, however. Holdgreefer is at 101 pitches, so it wouldn't be surprising to see his day be done. The 1-2, and it's a swinging strike three for Miles Gordon. He sits down for the first time today on strikes. And now the first baseman, Ronnie Allen Jr., who has 2 outs, both in the air, one via the flyout, one via the pop-out. Starting to warm up for the Titans is now Nelson Gonzalez, who was taken off the inactive list today, as Ronnie Allen Jr. is caught swinging at the first pitch for strike one. The 0-1 again swinging and getting just a little tiny piece of the ball is Allen. This one goes back into the netting, and it's now an 0-2 count. Quickly, the 0-2 pitch on the way up high, ball one. Chris Burica really likes to hustle with these pitches. The 1-2, right away, here comes the pitch. Swinging strike three, no! Allen Jr. got just a tiny bit of the ball. I thought for sure the catcher Green had squeezed it, but it did fall out there at the very last second for a foul ball. So we stay at 1-2. The next pitch. This one's lifted out towards left field. Orozco doesn't have to chase too far backwards for it before he pulls in the second out of the inning. So with 2 outs, the 9-hole hitter, second baseman Julius Purrier, steps up. Purrier's 0 for 2 with a line out and a fly out in the game so far. Otters with just 2 hits in the game. You have to go all the way back to the second inning to find their last one. The first chance for Purrier is taken on the inside corner for strike one. Next pitch is lifted up and out of play into the seating area near first base. And it's quickly 0-2 for Julius Purrier. The pitch on the way. Called strike three for Julius Purrier, and it's another strikeout. This one ends the 8th inning, or ends the top half of the 8th inning. We head to the bottom half with the Titans still ahead, 1-0 in this game. Brady Tedesco is going to get the nod out of the bullpen for the Otters. That call to the bullpen is presented by our friends at Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solutions needs. Tedesco on the mound, throwing home towards Justin Felix, and that pitcher-catcher battery is sponsored by The Answer Auto Repair East. Find your battery needs at The Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road, or give them a call at 812-475-9000. Holdgreefer's day ends. Like I mentioned there before the break, he goes 7 complete innings in this one. Gives up just 1 run on 4 hits. He picks up no walks and had 9 strikeouts in the game. Solid outing for him, but the bats couldn't add to his good day. So right now he's in line for the loss. But Brady Tedesco will pop up there next. Tedesco, not with a ton of experience so far on the year, has 2 appearances, giving up no runs on 1 hit in 2 and 1/3 innings of work. He'll start off against the 9-hole hitter Jackie Urbaez. Urbaez, first pitch he sees, sends out towards left center field, and it's down for a base hit. 1 pitch, 1 swing, 1 single for the Titans here in the bottom half of the 8th inning. So back to the top of the order we go, where the center fielder Will Zimmerman steps in. In the 6th, Will Zimmerman thought for sure he had grounded into a double play. Instead, it was misplayed by the second baseman Puryear, and he reached, and the man on first, Urbaez, reached second safely as well. Nothing ended up coming from it. They're going to try to avoid the same thing happening here. First pitch to Zimmerman. Instead, they're going to throw over to first and check on Urbaez. First throw over we've seen all day for the Otters. Now Tedesco throws home the first pitch. Called strike 1 on the outside half of the plate. Showing bunt was Will Zimmerman. He pulled away at the last second, however. Tedesco paying a lot of attention over there at first to Jackie Urbaez. Tedesco throws back over to first. Back in plenty of time is Urbaez. Count at 0-1 for Will Zimmerman. Tedesco ready to fire home. Instead, he's going to go back over to first. Got to be careful there. That one looked a little bit closer to a balk. Zimmerman still has only seen 1 pitch. The 0-1 on the way home. He bunts it right back up towards Tedesco. Tedesco fires over to first in plenty of time for out number 1, but it successfully moves Urbaez to second. So the sacrifice bunt brings up Brendan Dadson with a runner on second. Dadson is 1 for 3 with a single, a strikeout, and a ground out in the game thus far. And with 1 out, he's got a runner out there on second in the form of Jackie Urbaez. First offering. Inside. Flying out towards Khalil, and Khalil makes the play on the run. And that is the second out of the inning, just like that. A ball lined straight at Khalil at short is out number 2, and it now brings up the third baseman, A.J. Wright. A.J. Wright, 0 for 2 with a grounded to double play, a strikeout, and then he was hit by a pitch in the 6th. Long wait by Tedesco on the mound. And here comes the pitch. High outside corner. Stays just a bit high. At least it must have, because it was ball 1. Looks like the Otters are going to see a new arm in the top half of the 9th. I believe it's going to be Nelson Gonzalez. First a 1-0 towards Wright, and it stays high. Count now at 2-0. Tedesco retakes the mound and looks in for the pitch call. Sees something he likes, and here comes the 2-0. That one stays high. 3-0 count now. Tedesco trying to keep the Titans off the board here in the bottom half of the 8th inning. Gotta get something close now with a 3-0 count. The pitch just barely hits the high outside corner. Just barely. So it's strike 1 and the count's at 3-1. Urbaez stands out there on second after his single let off the inning. A 3-1 to A.J. Wright. Sent home by Tedesco. That one stays low for ball 4. Now runners on first and second for the Titans. So a break taken by the catcher, Justin Felix, who steps out and gives his call to the infield. As Jacob Sanford steps in. Sanford had both of the RBI doubles in the first 2 games that scored the game-winning runs. He's 0 for 3 tonight, or in this game. And he takes ball 1 to start off. Runner on second is Jackie Urbias. On first, A.J. Wright. 2 outs here in the bottom half of the 8th inning. Otters are trying to keep themselves down just 1. Here comes the 1-0. Swinging strike 1. A nice off speed there from Tedesco to even up the count. Don't forget to join us tomorrow evening as the team heads to Trois-Rivières, a couple hours to the east of us, to face the Eagles. First pitch is scheduled for 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. As a 1-1 misses high. Count now at 2-1. We will have first pitch right around 6 o'clock, which means the pregame show starts here on the Otters Digital Network about 5:50 Central Time, 6:50 Eastern Time. Two balls, one strike. Here's the pitch to Sanford, who lifts this one up out towards right field. McKinley chasing it inwards and makes the catch right on the right field foul line for out number 3. So 2 on with 2 outs does not come back to hurt the Otters anymore, and they're down to their last 3 outs. They've got to do it in the top half of the 9th, down just 1 here from Ottawa. We'll have the conclusion of this game right after this here on the Otters Digital Network. A pitching change taken here by the Ottawa Titans. They're going to bring in Nelson Gonzalez, the 6'1", 170-pound right-handed thrower. He played for AAA Albuquerque last year. Getting ready for his final warm-up pitch. Set to face him are going to be the 1-2-3 hitters of this Otters order: Armstrong, McKinley, and Davis. And they'll start it off with the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, third baseman Andy Armstrong, who's 0 for 3 with 2 groundouts and a flyout. So Armstrong digs in, ready for his first chance here in the 9th inning. Just need him to get on. It really doesn't matter how he does it. First pitch from Gonzalez. Finally on the way. Right across the zone, strike one. That was a nice pitch. Really took his time on the wind-up and delivery, but it looked like out of the hand it was heading straight towards Armstrong, and Armstrong started to flinch, and then it just dove into the zone. The 0-1 looked about the same, but that one stayed a little bit inside. Armstrong got some bat on it, but now he's down 0-2 after the foul ball. No balls, 2 strikes to Andy Armstrong, who's trying to avoid going hitless in the game. The 0-2 chops something toward right at third, right on after one hop. Long throw across the first is in plenty of time. And that's one down for the Otters in the top half of the ninth. That'll bring up the right fielder, Trevor Mckinley, who's 0 for 2 with a strikeout, a ground out, and a walk. McKinley is a left-handed hitter. Picked up another hit last night for the Otters in the second inning. He starts off with a called strike one. The Otters have not picked up a hit in this game since the second inning. They just have 2 all game long. The 0-1 high and outside. Count evens up at a ball and a strike. Wasting no time to get back in the box is McKinley. He's got to wait a while for the pitch from Nelson Gonzalez. The 1-1 sent towards the second baseman, Urbaez, who plays it off the ground and over to first. Again, plenty of time. The defense looks nice out there, and now the Otters are down to their last out. It'll be designated hitter J.R. Davis, who is tasked with the responsibility. Otters have not scored yet in the series, and they just have 7 hits coming into the game, 9 if you include the 2 today. Coming into the series, they were averaging 10 hits a game. They might not even get 10 in the whole series now. First pitch to J.R. Davis, high inside, ball 1. Long wait. Now Nelson Gonzalez sends the pitch home. Swinging strike 2 by Davis. He was fooled on that one. Oh, they update the scoreboard now. It was showing 0-1. Now it's 1-1. Davis digs back in, looking at a ball and a strike. Ball stays just a bit high for ball 2. 2 outs here in the top half of the ninth inning. Nobody on. J.R. Davis is currently the last hope for the Otters, as they trail by 1. The 2-1 to J.R. Davis. On the way. Swinging strike 2. And the deuces are wild with what could be the final pitch of the game. Davis steps in. And Nelson Gonzalez starts his really long windup here. The 2-2. Chopped foul to the left side, and J.R. Davis lives to see another pitch. Always a nice moment there. The foul ball sent towards that left side, and the third baseman tosses it up into the fans and makes a kid's day. Still 2-2 count to J.R. Davis. 2 outs, no one on. He's the last hope for the Otters. The 2-2 to Davis. Half swings. Able to check his swing in time. They go check with the first base umpire, Hughes Lafreniere. They said no, he didn't. So the count now full for J.R. Davis. he can get on base, the powerful hitting Zach Bierman would have a shot. Bierman, another one struggling so far today. Bierman struggling all series, to be honest. Only reached base twice, or once, and it was a walk. The full count pitch to Davis. Stays low, it's ball 4. The Otters are going to live to see at least one more batter. So Zach Bierman makes the walk up to the plate. The lefty is now hitting .323 on the season. Has 11 strikeouts. 3 of those were yesterday alone. And he's got to make this a productive at-bat. Runner on first is J.R. Davis. First pitch to Bierman. Lines it to the right side, but it just stays foul. Would have been huge for Bierman as the quick legs of J.R. Davis might have been able to score from first. He had a good hop right after the swing. Of course, it would have had to stay fair. So Zach Bierman retakes the batter's box, looking at an 0-1 count. 2 outs, runner on first is J.R. Davis. Otters down to their last out. The 0-1. Gets a hold of this one. Bierman sends it out towards right field. Chasing it, Sanford, and it's off the middle of the wall. Bierman is digging for second, slides in there, and with 2 outs, it's a double that just moves J.R. Davis to third. The Otters decide not to test the arm of Sanford. Man, Bierman missed a home run by about 5 feet. And that's going to cause a meeting on the mound for the Titans. Man, Bierman just barely missed, giving the Otters the lead here in the top of the 9th. Logan Sawyer is going to start warming up out there for the Otters, just in case they were able to take a lead. He would come in and close the game in the bottom half. Of course, first the Otters got to do something. Brings up the catcher, Justin Felix, after the double from Bierman. Felix is 1 for 3 with a single in the second inning, then a couple outs. Taking his time to get into the box is Justin Felix. Bierman's on second. J.R. Davis is on third. Boy, would this be huge if Justin Felix could give the Otters a run or two in this game. It would be their first run of the whole series if they could do it. First pitch to Justin Felix. On the way now. And it is just a bit up high for ball 1. One ball, no strikes. Justin Felix steps back in. Gonzalez ready on the mound. And here comes the 1-0. Felix gets a hold of it, sends it out towards left field. Chasing after it is Orozco. He's lost it. It's over the fence. A 3-run home run for the Otters. And they lead 3-1 in the top of the 9th inning. Can you believe it? Justin Felix has given the Otters the lead in the top half of the 9th inning with a home run to left center. Well, the Otters were due for someone to break through for the first run of the series. And it's Justin Felix who answers the call. And now Logan Sawyer starts to fully warm up out there in Wright. Third home run of the season for Justin Felix. That's tied for the team lead. Stepping in now is George Khalil, who takes ball 1 inside. A hard swing from Khalil evens the count at a ball and a strike. He fouled that ball off, just barely getting a piece of it. Ottawa had held a 1-0 lead all the way since the third inning, but then it's Justin Felix who answers the call. A 3-run home run has given the Otters the lead. The 1-1 to George Khalil, and it hits him on the back. So Khalil will head to first for free on the hit by pitch. The Otters were down to their last strike. Then Davis found a way to walk to first. Bierman doubled off the right field wall, putting runners at second and third, and then Felix brought them all home. And the little group of Otters fans that are behind the first base dugout got on their feet and clapped him all the way around. Miles Gordon up next with a runner on first, and he takes strike one to start off. Bierman and Felix's hits were the first hits of the game since the second inning for the Otters. The 0-1, and it's a hard swinging strike two for Miles Gordon. Logan Sawyer looks like he's ready to come into the game whenever needed. And it could be in one pitch. Miles Gordon down 0-2. 2 outs, runner on first. Pitch on the way. Just outside, ball one. One ball, 2 strikes to Miles Gordon. Nelson Gonzalez takes his time there on the mound. And here comes the 1-2. Works inside, counts even up at 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Runner on first is George Khalil. More Otters baseball coming your way this weekend as the team heads over to Trois-Rivières to face the Eagles Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We'll have all 3 for you right here on the Otters Digital Network. A 2-2 pitch on the way to Gordon. Running towards second is Khalil, and the ball is fouled to the right side towards the right field bullpen. I'll be real with you, even if that pitch wasn't fouled off, I don't think there was any getting that ball out to second to snag Khalil. He had a great jump. So all that excitement just to have Miles Gordon make his way back towards the batter's box. Still looking at a 2-2 pitch. On the way. Lets it go, and it's outside for ball 3. Full count yet again. George Khalil with a pretty small lead over there at first. Miles Gordon looking at a 3-2 count with 2 outs here in the top half of the ninth. Now George Khalil breaks towards second, and again it's fouled off to the right side towards the dugout of the Otters on the first base side. Khalil will make the jog back to first. Nelson Gonzalez trying to once again compose himself on the mound before the 3-2 pitch. And it's on the way now. Khalil breaking towards second, and again a foul ball. This one towards the seating area on the first base side. A couple of foul balls in a row here to keep Miles Gordon alive in the count. And now with the full count, they're not even going to hold Khalil there at first. First baseman drops back. 2 outs, full count, runner on first. Otters have just taken the 3-1 lead after the home run from Felix. Runner going, chopped towards the second baseman Urbias, who will play it off the ground and send it to first for the 3rd out, but not before a 3-run home run for Justin Felix has given the Otters the lead as we head to the bottom of the ninth. The closer, Logan Sawyer, is headed into the game to try to give the Otters their first win of the road trip and their first win on the road. We'll have it for you right after this here on the Otters Digital Network. Bottom of the ninth, coming at you here on the Otters Digital Network. A 3-run home run from Justin Felix brings home J.R. Davis and Zach Bierman, and that gives the Otters a 3-1 lead heading into the bottom of the ninth inning. The Otters were due for some runs, as they had not found the run column yet in this series. It was kind of looking like they were going to go down for the third straight night, getting shut out yet again. Not this time. Coming into pitch in the closing situation is going to be the closer, Logan Sawyer. Sawyer has 2 saves this year, allowing no runs and 1 hit in his 3 innings of work thus far. And he is ready to go once again here. He'll face the 5, 6, 7 hitters of Orozco, Fisher, and Green. So Rodrigo Orozco, who's 0 for 3 with 2 groundouts to the first baseman and a strikeout, looking for his first hit of the game, will lead off the bottom half of the ninth inning. Logan Sawyer takes to the mound, and we're ready to get things started in the bottom half of the ninth. First pitch stays right on the elbow line of the top side of the strike zone for strike 1. No balls, 1 strike. And here comes the pitch. Right across the zone again, and it's quickly an 0-2 count for Rodrigo Orozco. (0-2) count for Orozco. Sawyer getting himself ready on the mound. Pitch on the way. Sawyer appearing in his 163rd professional game. Over 230 strikeouts in that time. The 1-2 for Orozco. He fouls it to the right side. Watch out. Hot shot into the stands. And it stays at 1-2. One ball, 2 strikes to Rodrigo Orozco. Trying to stick with it there in the batter's box. Logan Sawyer's trying to sit him down for the first out of the ninth. The 1-2. Grounded towards Armstrong, and it gets past him into left field. It's a leadoff single for Orozco and the Titans. So now with a runner on, the shortstop Clay Fisher steps in. He's 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts and a groundout. Orozco stands on first. And here comes the first pitch of the at-bat. Foul to the right side and out of play. Really good work there in the last at-bat from Rodrigo Orozco. Fell down in the count early, but then kept fouling away pitches, giving himself a chance, and finally found one he could drive into left field for a base hit. The 0-1 for Clay Fisher on the way now. Fisher right at Armstrong, who makes a play in the air, brought that one out of the sky. Had that got past Armstrong, it would have surely been a double out in the left. But now with 1 out and 1 on, the catcher Tyrus Green steps in. Green has 1 of the 6 hits for the Titans in the game, a double there in the 3rd inning. Struck out and grounded out in his last 2. First offering on the way from Sawyer. Showing bunt is Green. Play at first. In time. What a throw from Justin Felix to gun him down there at first. What a play there from the catcher. Even better reflexes for Sawyer to get out of the way and give Felix all the room he needed to grab that throw from his knee and gun the runner down. 2 outs. Runner on second is Rodrigo Orozco. And now the designated hitter, Luke Navigato, steps in. Right now, he is the final hope for the Titans. 2 outs, runner on second. First one he sees, he fouls out of play to the right side. It'll get to the parking lot. Sawyer taking his time before he steps back up on the bump. 0-1 to Luke Navigato, who currently represents the final out for the Titans. The 0-1 pitch on the way to Navigato. He chops it right back up towards Sawyer. Sawyer picks it up to first. Oh, just barely makes the play, and that's how this one ends. And the Otters, after trailing this whole game, this whole series, have a 3-run home run there in the top half of the ninth by Justin Felix, and they win this one 3-1 and pick up one win before they head to Trois-Rivières to conclude their road trip to Canada. We'll take a break, and on the other side, we've got post-game stats and reactions live here from Ottawa as the Otters win this one 3-1. And for the final time, welcome inside Ottawa, Ontario, where the Evansville Otters have picked up a huge win, coming back in the top of the ninth inning with a 3-run home run from Justin Felix. It started off with a great pitching performance from Tim Holdgreefer, working around a couple of jams that he got put into both by himself and by his team. He goes 7 full innings, gives up just 1 run on 4 hits, no walks, 9 strikeouts. He will not be credited with the win or loss. He gets the no decision. Brady Tedesco will earn the win as he came in relief and closed down the door for the Titans. Chris Barica started things off for the Titans, and he was exceptional in this game. Barica ends up going a full 8 full innings, striking out 2, walking just 1, gave up no runs on 2 hits. He was replaced by Nelson Gonzalez, who will receive the loss, giving up the 3 runs on 2 hits in his 1 inning of work. He walked 1 and was not able to pick up a strikeout in the game. The Otters, with the win, move back level, back up to 500 at 6-6, keeping them right there in the thick of things in the West Division. They will head to Trois-Rivières, which is about 3 hours to the east of us. They'll face the Eagles of Trois-Rivières in a Friday, Saturday, Sunday series before they head home to face the Lake Erie Crushers. It'll be the first time they've faced a West Division opponent all season. If you'd like tickets to that Tuesday, Wednesday series against Lake Erie, you probably still have time right now to get over to Bosse Field and pick up a ticket. Or if you'd rather call the front office, you can do that too, 812-435-8686. Or you can get them online at evansvilleotters.com. We'd love to see you for Tuesday's Taco Tuesday, Wednesday's Senior Connection Wednesday, or Thirsty Thursday against Lake Erie next week. We're excited that you've joined us for another edition of Otters Baseball here on the Otters Digital Network. Once again, the Otters win this one with a 9th inning comeback. A 3-run home run from Justin Felix gives them the 3-1 lead. For all of us here at the Evansville Otters, I'm Matthew Will. Thanks for joining us for another edition of Otters Baseball. We'll talk to you tomorrow evening at about 5:50 as we get set for first pitch between Otters and Eagles right here on the Otters Digital Network. Thanks for joining us and have a great day.